How's it going, guys? In today's video I'm going to show you how to install the Zippy Spacers into the BBbarfly SuperFly Balisong trainer. You can see I've already got the Zippy handle inlays installed, so together we're going to go ahead and install the spacers. First, take your T10 Torx driver and begin by removing one of the top slabs. So you can see the stock brass weights just fell out, but they would normally go there. So the Zippy Spacers feature an adjustable balance with a little bit higher granularity than the stock adjustable weight system. The stock adjustable weight system lets you use 2, 1 in either position, or no brass weights. For the Zippy Spacer, it can hold up to 3 tungsten balls. And the way you install the tungsten ball into the spacer is you would take a rigid metal object. I use the tip of a clicky pen, and you just push the tungsten weight into the spacer. And there's 3 spots that enable you to adjust the balance. There's 2 of them, and this is the 3rd. So with this system, you can choose 1, 2, or all 3 of the weights. For the folks who like handle bias, you might like all 3 of the weights. If you really like the balance with both brass weights in, both of the brass weights, I'll show you here, weigh 0.092, and the Zippy Spacer with all 3 weights weighs 0.104. So if you wanted to add a little bit more handle bias, you could use all the weights. If you wanted a little less handle bias, you could take out 1 of the weights. And now you're at 0.082 compared to 0.092 for both of the brass weights, and you could keep doing that. We'll remove another one. Now you're at 0.061. Personally, I find the SuperFly to be pretty handle biased out of the box, so my preferred configuration personally is no weights. And so by adding the Zippy Spacer, weight wise, it's essentially like you're using half of 1 of the brass weights. So it does add a little bit of mass compared to not using any of the weights at all, but I think it's well worth it because you end up gaining a lot of grip. And of course, the pop of color is always nice. But if you wanted to add a little handle bias or maintain a similar balance to what you had before, you could install the tungsten weights. But as I previously stated, I think the best balance is with the spacer empty. So I'm going to install it empty. So I simply pushed the spacer onto the sex bolt there. And now I'm going to replace the top slab and make sure everything's lined up. And I'll begin by screwing in the pivots again, and then the spacer screw. So make sure these are nice and secure. Give them another twist. And we've just installed one of them. Let's go ahead and do the other. Undo the screws of the other slab here. Got a bit of oil on my finger, so I'm gonna try not to get oil everywhere. We'll take out the brass weights. We won't be using those anymore. And then be installing the Zippy Spacer. And again, if you wanted to install any of the adjustable tungsten weights, now is the time. I think the balance is the nicest and most neutral like this, so I'm not going to. A little side note, there's another video linked in the product description for the Zippy inlays on how to install the inlays. I've already got them installed here, but if you also purchase the inlays, I recommend you go view the installation video in the inlay product description. The short story is, with the flat side facing into the slab, you push them and press fit them in. So now that I've got the spacer installed, I'm gonna replace this top slab, making sure that everything's still aligned nicely, the Zen pin and the sex bolt and the washer. Gently place that there, and I'm gonna screw it back in. I like to screw in the pivots first. On a Balisong with good tolerances, that'll typically help make sure everything's aligned nicely. All right, so let's give that another twist, make sure everything's nice and tight. And that's it. So the Zippy Spacers, they contour to the stock jimping. These are flush spacers. The SuperFly is not a Balisong that needs to be extended, but you can see the spacers add some positive jimping, so you get a lot more grip for ladders and chokers and any other tricks you might do where you're gripping the bottom of the handle. So adds a pop of color. Here we're marking the safe handle green and the bite handle pink, and adds some grip. So you can see this configuration, which is how I prefer to flip it, the total weight is 4.339 ounces. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy.